Today I'll be giving an introduction to aggressor scripts as explained from this YouTube video from Raphael Mudge and this website here from Spartan. All right, let's get into it. All right, so first off, to bring up the scripting console, we go to View and Script Consoles, and we could run help. And these are the different commands that are supported from the aggressor script console. And we can evaluate commands with the X command. So for instance, 2 times 3 or print line hello. Right. So that's how you can go about executing different aggressor script functions and commands. So first off, we need to cover the data model that is supported by Cobalt Strike. And to get all those data structures, you can run data keys here. And this will show you all the different arrays that are supported by Cobalt Strike, such as beacons, targets, users, etc. So let's look into the beacons. Data structure. So we can go here, call beacons, and it has a bunch of different keys here. For instance, the process name, the host IP address. So let's dig into, so in this case, we have 2 beacons, and we can grab the second one by using this dereference syntax. So this shows us our second beacon here, and then we can get a specific values such as the OS by using this syntax, right? So that shows you these different data structures that we'll be using within our aggressor scripts. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to write an alias command that we can then run on each of our beacons. So let's go ahead and write that script. So within our command console here, we can then create this test CNA, and here we can, but let me just do a sanity check here back here to see which, okay, so when we have the default scripts there. Okay, so let's write our alias command. So in this case, it's alias, and we will call our command foo. And what we'll do is first, we will print out to the screen. The first argument is the actual beacon ID, which will be passed into this function. So we want to print out my beacon ID, and we can use that variable again. And then we also want to run a command, and we use the bshell command to run a command within our beacon. And the command we will run is who am I. All right, so here we go. So this is our first alias command called foo. So let's go back to our Cobalt Strike here. So to load it, you can go ahead and go to Cobalt Strike and go use the script manager to load it. But I'm going to load it within the aggressor script console itself. So load test CNA. But before that, let's kind of do a sanity check here, right? So previously, we don't have this foo command. But then once we load our aggressor script here, then we could go back here and run our foo command, right? And it gives us our beacon ID, and also it runs the who am I command. So that's how you could run, that's how you could create an alias command and then run it in beacon. So the next thing I want to cover is how you can create a function that can iterate through all of your beacons and then run a command on each of those beacons. So this is sort of a way to go about automating some interesting commands that you run on, that you will once run on all of your beacons. To do that, we're going to use the keyword command, and we'll call this one run all. Right, and here we'll use the for each for each structure, and we're going to grab a beacon hash from each of our beacons. All right, that was good. And then we're going to start setting some variables here. So first we'll grab the PID from our beacon. Okay, PID, brackets, great. And then we'll also grab the username as well. Okay, and then finally, we want to print this information out. So print line process ID. And the other cool thing that we'll do is we'll add color to each of the different fields. So I'll specify C4 for our red color, and then we'll print out our PID. And the /O tells it to stop the coloring. So this says, hey, color this PID, this C4 color, which is red, and then stop it. And we'll then print out, and here again, we're going to use another color. In this case, C2 is a blue color, and then we'll print out our user variable. Okay, all done. Close our for loop, and then close our command. All right, I think that looks good. So let's go back here to our script console, and we can reload test.cna, reload, and then now we could run the run all command that we've just implemented, right? According to logic, first it grabs the process ID and prints it out, and then grabs the username and then prints it out. All right, the final thing I want to show today is how you can actually add another menu item here for each of the beacons, and then have a function that gets executed when you add your own custom menu item. And to do that, I can first go to the help manual here, and we want to base it off of these pop-up menus here. So let's copy the code here, and then go back to our console. All right, let's add it here to the bottom. All right, so first off, we want to name our menu item. Let's just call it custom, and we want to run the dir command. So custom dir command. All right, so the example they have here is they're going to use this prompt text function, but we're just going to go ahead and put in our own code instead. So for those who know Perl, they'll be familiar with this kind of syntax. So what the syntax is saying here is the first argument, which in this case for pop-up menu items is an array of all of the selected items. So all the selected beacons. So we are going to set that to an array, right? So a scalar to an array. So yeah, for those who like Perl, they will understand that kind of syntax. So a very kind of good sort of a standardization that you should do is when you run commands, you should use this b input. So that will add a string, adds the string that we specify into the log. So that way you have logging of all the commands you run, right? In this case, we're going to run the dir command. So we're going to log that by using the b input command. And then finally, we're going to use the b shell command here to run our commands. So for all of the beacon IDs, we're going to run the dir command. All right, I believe that looks good. Okay, let's now go back to Cobalt Strike, and let's reload test.cna. And first off, right, to show, right, normally these are all the commands that is available for a beacon pop-up. So now we're going to reload our CNA file. It's reloaded, and then check it out, right? Now we have this custom dir command. So let's highlight all of our beacons and run this custom dir command. And then here within each of our beacon consoles, right, we see that our dir command was executed successfully. So yeah, that was an introduction to different capabilities that aggressor scripts can provide.